The Judicial Conduct Tribunal that's investigating sexual harassment allegations against former Eastern Cape top judge Selby Mbenenge continues today. Gendered violence specialist Dr. Lisa Vetten is expected back on the stand. In her testimony yesterday, Vetten unpacked the power imbalances between Mbenenge and former Judge's Secretary Andiswa Mengo, whose latest complaint. She's argued that unequal workplace dynamics can compromise genuine consent. Watching proceedings for us is senior reporter Canny Maphanga, who joins us now live once again from Sandton, where this tribunal is sitting. And Canny, it was also interesting to hear Lisa Vetten essentially unpacking what harassment is. Indeed.
Good morning to you, Ayanda, and to the viewers at home. We saw researcher Lisa Vetten, who has been working in the field of violence against women since 1991, thoroughly unpack this complex issue of sexual harassment before the tribunal that is tasked with probing whether a judge's secretary was allegedly sexually harassed by the top judge of the Eastern Cape Division. She started off by laying the foundation of what exactly sexual harassment is and the kind of patterns or conduct that could follow sexual harassment. We've seen her lay out the foundation that sexual harassment could be a pattern of repeated conduct towards the victim, or it could be an egregious act that happens on one occurrence that you could clearly spell out as sexual harassment. So, for example, if someone made an inappropriate sexual remark, or someone made contact with another individual inappropriately or in a sexual way, then of course you could spell that out as sexual harassment. She also goes into detail of how workplace sexual harassment blurs the line between consent and also blurs the lines between personal and workplace relations. And it's easy not to recognize when that is taking place because you have to look at the patterns. She keeps highlighting to the tribunal that they need to look for patterns in order to identify whether such an issue existed between Andiswa Mengo and the Judge President of the Eastern Cape Division of the High Court. We've seen her also go into great detail regarding why human conduct regarding such sexual harassment cannot be regulated, or there's no blueprint to give the tribunal regarding how a victim should act in the face of such violence. She's gone on to say that because of the power relations that could exist in the workplace environment, that a victim may not always act in a manner that you think is appropriate, that human conduct in general cannot be regulated, and every single woman has a different response in how they try to manage a situation like this. She's also highlighted again how difficult it is for a junior to say no to a senior in the face of such violence, and due to that fact, they may come up with strategies to avoid or rather manage the situation that they're faced with. It is against that backdrop that she analyzes the WhatsApp text between the top judge and Andiswa Mengo, and she reaches the conclusion that Andiswa Mengo was not a willing participant in these exchanges and that the Judge President simply would not take no for an answer. She uses the repeated requests for certain things that the Judge President makes towards the Judge's Secretary, and then she goes on to analyze how the Judge's Secretary uses different strategies to avoid the requests being made, such as deferment or evasion, to not meet his demands, but also not outright offend the person that is making those requests. So currently, as we speak today, she'll be going under cross-examination to test her version of events. We know that Mbenenge's counsel is accusing her of bias and not accusing her of looking at the issue holistically, stating that she is sympathetic to one side over the other. Remember, the purpose of cross-examination is to test the evidence that is brought before the tribunal and whether the tribunal can accept that evidence to assist it in reaching a conclusion. It is Mbenenge's counsel's argument that this evidence, although it is academic evidence, is of no assistance to the tribunal because it doesn't consider the affidavit or any of the evidence coming from the top judge. But of course, Lisa Vetten has explained numerous times that she's here to explain sexual harassment in the workplace, and she was asked to analyze those WhatsApp texts before the tribunal that we have seen Andiswa Mengo testify on. We haven't yet heard Mbenenge's side of the story. However, we've seen her testify as to why she responded in a particular manner, why she chose to keep some of those conversations going. We've seen her explain some of the conduct that members of the public may find confusing, that may not meet, I guess, what people think the ideal victim should act like. That is what Lisa Vetten is here to deal with. It's those nuances that that informs sexual harassment in the workplace. There's no blueprint to determining this complex issue, but she is here as an academic to assist regarding the questions, rather, that the tribunal may have regarding this complex issue of sexual harassment in the workplace. So we expect that cross-examination will continue at 9:30 a.m. this morning.